What is up, hotties? Welcome back to another episode of Stay Hot. I'm Blaiden Kirk, joined as always by my two favorite co-hosts of all time, Matthew Spiner and Theo Ash. And of course, it's brought to you by our good friends over at FanDuel. If you're doing any sort of DFS or sports betting this NFL season, make sure you're doing it over at FanDuel or on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Theo, I'm just gonna jump right in, dude. We just watched another game of the year Sunday Night Football extravaganza, Packers Cowboys. We're going to talk about some other games, but that game was incredible, down to the wire, in overtime, ends in a tie. It very well could have ended in a loss for the Packers with the way they managed the last 25-ish seconds of the game. Yeah. That was brutal to see. I just need your initial thoughts coming out of this game.
I don't blame Jordan Love for going rogue and wanting to take one shot into the end zone. I mean, what the fuck? You get down there. I mean, if they would have managed the clock well and spiked it at that point, they would have gotten down there without ever throwing it in there. No, they got down there and threw the fucking screen.
The issue was not that they wanted to take another shot at the end zone. The issue is that they
lined up so slow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the process was bad. You don't want to be running out of time at the end, but like, Jesus, throw it into the end zone. They were playing to not lose. They were playing to tie. Like, what were those swings? Like, just getting blown up. Like, throw it down the field, man. Like,
that's the management that I'm thinking of. Not just that they lined up slow, but that the whole drive was just dinking and dunking. And they were in a position where they had like plenty of time. It wasn't like their backs were really up against the wall and you're like, well, as long as the Packers are like aware of it, they're not actually going to run out of time. And then they played like it's halfway through the first quarter and they can just like take a check down and take 40 seconds off the clock or whatever. I mean, yeah, the last throw was incredibly risky. You almost just lost the game straight up on like getting to the line slow and, throwing if that had bounced up in the air and landed, like it could have been a loss straight up. Right. It's just silly. So absolutely terrible management down the stretch. But it's always good to see a tie no matter how you get them.
I was thinking of you, Matt. I was thinking of you, man. When we get into like under 3 minutes in overtime, I'm like, we're getting into tie territory.
It's a little glorious when a team like chooses to take a tie, like the Packers did right there, especially. It's not like off of a missed field goal that would have given them the win or something like that. No,
Well, I'm curious to know, in that situation, 1 second left.
They were too far out for it to even be a consideration to go for the win.
You think so?
Absolutely. It would have been psychotic to try to throw a 17-yard pass into the end zone.
Hey. Yeah, they would have lined up all 11.
I mean, they basically did try it with 8 seconds left. They're like, well, I guess we're gonna do this.
Well, that's different because they were trying to get one off and leave time on the clock. The fact that it was close is different than saying like, we would rather go for it 15 yards out for the win, risk the loss, than kick the field goal and go for the tie.
I guess that's true because it is at that point. It like you are saying you're more okay with a loss than a tie,
right?
So, but I don't know. I thought it was very bizarre. I wasn't so against the dinking and dunking because so much of that drive, I'm thinking, do the Cowboys know that if they give up a touchdown, they lose? They were getting the yards after catch on some of these plays was ridiculous. The Wicks catch over the middle, he turned up fielding and got a bunch of yards after. It felt like the running backs were picking up yards on the outside, left and right. Just basically every chance they got up until that Trayvon Diggs tackle for loss near the end. But it felt like really the Cowboys were getting torn up on those plays. I wasn't really against it so much.
They got to fucking throw it in the end zone, man. Like, I don't care. You got to, they're not against it. They just, I mean, a tie is like a loss. Like that's a loss to me. This feels like an L. Obviously it's not, but I mean, you're playing in a division with the Lions. You're playing in a division with the Vikings, with the Bears. The NFC North is tough. And you just gave away 2 weeks in a row against some of the easiest opponents in the league. You got 0 wins. That's 2 losses as far as I'm concerned. Like, come on. It was pathetic. The blocked kick just stupid 2 weeks in a row. I don't know what's in the water with the special teams this year, but basically losing two weeks in a row because of blocked kicks essentially is ridiculous.
The blocked kick was in the second quarter of this game, and it ended up costing them huge.
Of course it cost. Yeah, a tie game. That's a 3-point swing. The secondary
5-point swing here. No, it was a 3-point. You're right. No, I'm stupid.
The secondary seemed to have zero interest in like contesting a pass. It was crazy. Like Carrington Valentine on the Pickens touchdown, just like completely head on fire, breaking at where Pickens is, with absolutely no thought about like where he potentially could be going. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
watching this game with my girlfriend, and she's like, "What is 24 doing?" He's like, he doesn't want to be out there.
What is he doing? What is Nate Hobbs doing? What is Evan Williams doing? Like, how did they allow Pickens to catch that?
The game moved on a little quickly. I don't understand how that fadeaway throw to Tolbert that Dak had, how was there not a contest on that? Like,
don't know.
At all?
Couldn't tell you.
That one was really shocking to me, where it's like it was
like a throwaway.
It might have.
That's the only thing I can think of, is that it probably looked like a throwaway, and then Jalen Tolbert's like, "Oh shit, I have a chance at this."
Yeah, that's what the corner should be thinking too.
I don't think it was that far out of bounds though.
No, yeah, I mean it was a ridiculous catch and a ridiculous throw, but like, and ridiculous pocket movement by Dak. And
I mean, it's easy if it's not contested. Like, honestly, that catch is easy for an NFL wide receiver if it's not contested. Like, dragging the toes, like, it's cool. It happened at a huge moment in the game. Like, it's super impressive. But like an NFL wide receiver with no one breathing down his neck, with no one contesting it whatsoever, they could make that catch blindfolded, as far as I'm concerned.
Do you think Wicks would have made that catch on the sideline?
Yeah, I do. I think if you're not going to pursue him and you're not going to make any effort to break up the pass, they'll probably catch it. Like, toe taps are cool, but they're not that difficult. Like, that's what they spent their entire lives practicing. Like, toe tapping catches. It's really not that hard for them. It was a ridiculous throw under pressure. Shout out the defensive line for trying, I guess. But yeah, the secondary, you gotta apply some sort of presence. Otherwise, these Jalen Tolbert, you might not think he's very good, and he's not, but he can make an uncontested catch on the sideline. It's pretty easy for him.
Yeah, I mean, shout out the defensive line, because they did try. They were putting heat on Dak all game long. It's just Dak was on one today.
Dak was on one. I really do. I didn't think Parsons was invisible or anything like that.
No,
he definitely had some big wins. Some
he
close
had a moment
moments
where I thought he was going to get a strip sack, and Dak
that was an incredibly good play by Dak. His feel on that one was great. That's what makes him a 10-year vet.
Dak is elite. I mean, spread out, control the line of scrimmage, like making plays under pressure. I think Dak is in the thick of the MVP race after tonight. Like, it's hard to say that there's a quarterback playing better than Dak this year.
I think he's balling out. I just don't think the numbers are going to back him up on that right now.
I don't know.
Possibly. It's early in the season.
I know on Ben Baldwin's like adjusted EPA metrics, which he combines with PFF grade to get like a composite, Dak was number one, at least. Not after this week, obviously, because I haven't seen the numbers, but that's not gonna. Dak isn't going down. You know what I mean? He is. Yeah, he's been ridiculous all year. I don't know if they're gonna win enough games.
Performance of anyone this season so far.
And he did it without CD too. That's pretty crazy, man. You can't be giving up 300 yards to the CD Lamb-less Cowboys. I mean, so much of the conversation that we had around them as a team was the fact that with only one like top tier receiver, there's only so much that like Dak can do, and it's too easy to key in on one guy. Well, you lose the better of the two receivers. You lose your big time superstar, and you just don't you don't give attention to dang near any receiver. You don't put pressure on anybody. You don't make it tough for anyone.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had told you that before the season started that the Packers or that the Cowboys not only would have gone into this game without Micah and CeeDee, but that the Packers would have had Micah and the Packers still wouldn't have won it, you'd be pretty shocked. How do you feel about Green Bay overall after the last 2 weeks then? I mean, first 2 weeks it seemed
Pretty
like,
bad.
okay, well, they're not going to lose until they play Philadelphia. Now it's
pretty bad. I just feel like the offensive line has been a huge detriment. I mean, I get that where Tom has been out, so maybe that gets better. But I don't know. I mean, we'll get into this over the course of the episode. Here's the thing. Like, I'm going to be on my hater shit over the course of this entire episode because I've been in a bad mood for 3 days, even before the Packers thing. And I don't know why. I'm taking some new medicine. That might be why. But I was just like irrationally pissed off even before any of the games.
I feel you, bro. Bad mood, no reason.
Bad mood, no reason.
So I think the only thing that is going to bring me any joy, and I think the way that I almost have to play this podcast is just by slandering absolutely everybody. All right. And just being a hater. But the thing about the Packers is like, I feel bad. Like the line has gotten abused. The secondary like just did not come to play whatsoever. Who knows how long Wyatt will be out. They lose to the Browns. They tie the Cowboys. Like those should just be easy wins, like I said.
Yeah.
But luckily for me, every other team in the NFC is like dog shit or the Lions, who we already beat.
That is
we'll
the good
see
news
about.
Is that you have a win over Detroit, still this early on in the year.
Yes, thankfully their quarterback is Jared Goff, so like
and the Vikings
dog shit
quarterback
too.
is Carson Wentz. So
the Eagles quarterback is Jalen Hurts. We're good.
Nobody.
I'm
loving.
The Rams still scare me a little bit.
The Rams, I can get being.
But they lost to the Eagles, and the Eagles suck ass. As far as I'm concerned.
As far as he's concerned. And remember, Theo is on his hater shit this episode, so take everything he says with that.
Am I wrong, though? I mean, are the Eagles not ass?
Well, we can talk about Eagles Buccaneers if that's what you want to get into. I don't think that the Eagles are ass. I think they're kind of the same team that they've been for a while, right? I mean, there's levels of it. This is true.
I think they're the same offense they've been for a while.
Yeah. And defensively, they're still really good. I mean, look, this was a tough one.
Yeah.
Certainly in the sense that the Buccaneers were able to play their way back into it down the stretch. But even then, they only put up 23 points with 2 monster field goals, right? And like they had an interception that was called back and the Egbuka touchdown. I'm not saying that it wasn't lucky, but it's like that's a tough throw and whatever. I don't think Philadelphia's defense looked bad by any stretch. No worse than any other team's defense has had a moment of, no? Against a good offense?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
I think Philadelphia is, I was thinking this as I was watching it. Philadelphia is debatably the best team in the NFL with all of their offensive issues, where it's like they have these days or like really these stretches of the season. We saw last year, we're seeing it at stretches now where they can't get the ball to A.J. Brown and they can't throw anywhere. I mean, I had the stat, 2 throws past 10 yards, right? Like that sucks. And
today,
A.J. Brown, I think, had like
for the season
7 yards for today.
Okay.
And like, but like,
no.
But
it's
like
not that
they
far
had,
off.
but they had like 0 throws down the sideline, like even attempts. And that's the type of stuff that you should be able to take a shot at and get a look at with mismatches and just with having a guy like A.J. Brown or whatever.
Right.
And when they're in that mode and it's all like the short yard and they're just relying on like Hurts to run when nobody gets pressure, which is good stuff. Or, just like the screen game and Saquon to do something, or the tush push when you're like barely staying ahead of the chains. They're debatably the best team in the league still. They'll look bad and then win 12 games, 13 games.
They are certainly victims of the like super high standard because they just won the Super Bowl. Like,
well, they do look ugly in the wins.
They do look ugly, but like, if this were the Rams, we would be like, dude, they're just so scrappy. Like,
if this was the Colts, if this was the Chargers, if this was, any other team, like 4-0, 4-1 score games, you'd be chilling. But this is a team with Super Bowl aspirations, and they had these issues on offense last year for sure. 100%
last year, like late, like in the double-digit weeks last year.
In the playoffs.
Absolutely.
I mean, before the NFC Championship game, they were one of the worst offenses in the playoffs. And they still won, but that's because they had a defense that was ranked number 1 in the league. And they were especially good at preventing the big play. Like, that is something they were outlier type effective at, was preventing deep passes. This year, that just hasn't really been the case. From week 1 against the Cowboys to now against Baker and the Buccaneers. Like, this is a defense that is not as impenetrable. And 77 yards to Egbuka, 70 yards to Bucky Irving. That shit was not happening last year.
I think you're overestimating a couple of plays, because say what you want, but they beat the Rams again. They beat them. They beat those guys. And what the rest of my point was that I was getting to is that when they have the A.J. Brown shit on and Hurts is doing a little bit better of a job, like getting the ball around, and they're taking more deep shots, which I'm not saying is all on him, but like we talked about this before. When they're doing that, they're definitely the best team and nobody can match them. The question is, and it will be this year, and it might be next year, and just going forward in general until this dynasty that they've got, or this level they've got, falls off, is how do they look in the passing game? Because if they've got it figured out, there is nobody who is on their level at all. There's nobody who is as good, as talented on defense as them, who can both run and pass the ball. But it all comes down to what type of Eagles passing offense you see. They can still get it done a lot with an entire half where they just can't throw or whatever. They can still win a lot, but they're definitely gettable like this, of course.
They definitely are gettable. I think, they can win games with a bad passing attack. Clearly, they were the 32nd ranked drop back passing team last year in terms of yards per game. But the thing is, like, why should I bet on them getting better at this point? Why should I bet on them getting A.J. Brown involved at some point? Like, they've had this issue constantly for the last 2 years.
We saw it last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
You did see it last year in the playoffs, but it's just like, you saw it for half the games, and then the other half of the playoff games, like, the defense won them to get those games. And as it stands right now, if we look at the Eagles, they are neither a top 10 offense or a top 10 defense statistically. Now they're winning. They've won close games. They've blocked punts for touchdowns. They've blocked field goals for touchdowns. They've won these games, but
special teams, man, 80% of the game.
Special teams is bumped up to 2/5. All right, after the last 2 weeks now. Special teams is honestly more important.
You're casual if you're watching offense and defense.
Special teams is more important than offense and defense as far as I'm concerned these days. But that's the key difference between the Eagles this year and the Eagles last year. Is last year they were the 11th ranked offense by DVOA, right? They weren't top 10. They weren't an elite unit, even though they have all these stars. They were good, but they weren't elite. This year, it's a little bit worse. The line is a little bit worse.
Where do they rank defensively DVOA right now? If you've got,
I don't know, because this week isn't up yet, but they're like middle of the pack, like 16th, 17th.
Here's what I think. First off, they have a couple of young players. There's been a couple of explosive plays that have come off of young players that I think are good in coverage, but will
Makuba had a rough go of it today.
Makuba had a rough one today, and like, the Bucky explosive they let up is tough, but like there's some glitch plays. There's some cheese in the games that
glitch plays. They didn't have Sweat. They don't have Sweat, so like Baker gets more time. Like, it's just not as good of a defense as it was last year.
I'm willing to concede to that the big plays are a problem, but outside of a 77-yard Egbuka touchdown, one play drive, and then another 86-yard touchdown drive, which had I think that's the one with the Bucky play. They didn't have a single drive go beyond 50 yards today. Tampa.
That's
explosive plays are. I mean, there's only 7.
I get that those are a problem, but like the first half drives are a 28-yard drive, an 8-yard drive, a 49-yard drive that ends in a field goal, a 23-yard drive, 6 yards, 30 yards, 7 yards, and then the 77 one, and then 7 yards, then the 86 one, 29, 36, 40. Like, there's a lot.
I think that's a terrible argument. That's a horrible argument that if you take out the big explosive plays that they let them. The point I was going to make is that you're reading way too much into early season analytics and that they've played all good quarterbacks so far. And there's other teams out there who have played dog shit offenses that, of course, are going to be ranked higher. And I'm not saying that the Eagles' defense is necessarily as good as it was last year. We should have that conversation at some point during the season. Okay. I think it's going to be really good still. I think it's going to continue to get better as some of the young guys get experience. I don't think it's as bad as the numbers suggest. And they play Giants twice, Minnesota, Denver. Let's see how they look statistically after that stretch of quarterbacks who aren't super high level, no disrespect, or very young or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't know, them giving up like a couple of big explosive plays, but not like over 50. That's a pretty high mark to make the cutoff. No.
I mean, maybe over 50 is a pretty high cutoff, but like a lot of them aren't even getting to 30. A lot of them aren't getting to 40. Like a lot of these drives are maybe getting to midfield and they end in punts is all I'm trying to get. Like it's the same thing where it's like, we're just looking to, if you look too much into the singular big plays, it's like, this defense might not be as good as it was. But in general, I think they have a lot of the same juice. It's just like you said, Matt, a lot of young guys at work here.
What is a little concerning is, like, I guess you've gone up against a Chiefs team that was like really like dead at wide receiver, and like this Bucs offense, it's good, but it's like incredibly injured. It's incredibly bad.
They got some guys back today, but not Evans. Godwin had a bit of a rough go of it. He was not used to the contact. He was kind of dropping some stuff that he wouldn't usually drop.
They had Tez Johnson out there. Shout out.
I had Tez out there getting points for my 32-person fantasy lineup. Shout out Tez getting points for me for the first time all year.
I'm getting rocked in the 32 team.
Him and Jalen Lane got me like 6 big ones between the two of them. And that's better than the 0 I was getting from them the other weeks with Worthy out. But Wirfs came back and he played a really good game, I thought. Wirfs looked like just totally normal. Yeah. Godwin came back, did not look totally normal. Missing Evans, that's a big deal. Missing Gadecki is also a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I think I'm definitely on my salty shit when it comes to these.
Well, that's fine. Now. That's fine. And you declared that at the start of the episode.
Which I declared at the start. I just think they're not actually ass, right? Like they might wall up the Packers. Not. They could easily do that. But
because
pointing out the defense right now, like this isn't just the same old Eagles with all the same problems that they had last year, as long as the defense isn't number one. Because yes, they had these issues last year. AJ Brown was being cryptic. There was like, there was a fair amount of problems there. But the defense could erase a lot of stuff. And also Saquon wasn't averaging 3.1 yards per carry. Well, that's what he's at so far this year. Like,
teams are really keying in on that.
They've got to air it out more, man.
They got to air it out more.
They just have to keep defenses honest. I mean, and they did some cool. I thought some of their goal line or short yardage stuff was cool. They had that little shovel to Goddard.
For sure.
They had that like out of the tush push. They had that good like fake trick sort of run type thing. I'm like, I like that as well. So that's good stuff to have in the bag to make them like the most frustrating short yardage team in the world, or to add on to them already being that. But like, AJ Brown is like a god, dude. Like he is unbelievable. The top receivers, I guess, in general in the NFL are unbelievable. Like Brown is, one of the top 20 players in the league, top 30. We had him on our list, no?
What did you make of his tweet? Did you see his lyric? If you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene. Shrug your shoulders and be on your way.
He's upset about the throws that he's seeing, obviously.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, I think I'd act the same way.
I get it, dude.
He's kind of
imagine if
Zen
you were
Bieber.
Justin Jefferson and you had like 9 yards, because
AJ Brown has
the ball deep, bro.
AJ Brown has twice in his career like pump faked a catch in the end zone, and he's getting like hitches.
I mean, look what he did last week. It's just like throw it to him, like outbreaking routes, go routes, like. It's not cover two every single play. Like the Buccaneers were blitzing a ton, and you telling me you can't just say fuck it, AJ's down there somewhere occasionally against Todd Bowles. Like it's I promise it's possible. And then what about motion? Like why not hand it to him on a jet sweep? Why not hand it to him on a screen? Like put him in the fucking backfield and run wide zone if they're taking him away. Like I don't give a shit how you do it. It can easily be done. JSN, that guy, the Seahawks are running that guy on like fly sweeps and tunnel screens all the time. He's not good at running that shit. AJ Brown is way better at running that than JSN is.
Respect JSN though. JSN's a dog.
JSN's a dog. JSN has an amazing skill set.
Shout out to JSN.
But he's not a running back type, you know, like AJ Brown is somebody that you could mistake for a running back, like the way he carries the ball, the thickness in his build, like that guy is built for a tunnel screen. JSN is a spidery. It doesn't matter. Like just throw him a screen. That's the point that I'm getting at here is like it doesn't matter who the wide receiver is, if it's Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or anybody. If they're a good weapon, throw them a screen. And
Jamar Chase is the perfect example. Look at how the Bengals use Jamar Chase, man. Why do the Eagles not use AJ Brown in a similar way?
Because they got Saquon and they got Hurts and they got, they just have a different mode that they like to play in than being in shotgun all the time. And
I'm not even saying, they don't have to be in.
They kind of are in shotgun all the time.
It doesn't have to be just like, 11, 10, no tight ends out on the field. Like you can run your same stuff. But
yeah, you're right, Blaiden. They can do more of that. Just spread out. You can pick the one-on-one matchups when it's spread, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
you don't have to be in spread every play. You can run your normal shit. Just change it up. That's all it is. It's the change ups, man. But
the last thing I want to say about this game, Bucky Irving, superstar tier. Running back.
Yeah, man.
So good.
He's unbelievable. It's crazy how good he is. And really, I just think he's one of the shiftiest guys. I mean, his agility is like literally as good as any running backs, I think. Genuinely.
Yeah, sure.
And he's still so north-south. He's still so like gashing downhill. It's just a great style. And the fact that he's lighter, but still like he didn't get knocked down that easy for somebody his size. He really doesn't. So he's one of my
cooking with the stiff arms today as well. Like that's one thing that I think like Bijan Robinson is probably the one guy who clearly has better cuts than Bucky Irving.
Wow.
But he doesn't like have the stiff arm in his bag as well like Bucky does. Like I feel like the physicality that he runs with on top of everything else. Plus, you can cash in a 70-yard reception for a touchdown. It's just crazy. He did fumble though, but that was a pretty close call.
Yeah,
shout out Campbell. He had the forced fumble and he also had the pick at the end. What a dog shit decision from Baker. Oh my God. Oh my God. That pick. Horrific.
I saw that and I was like, because we're doing the Patreon episode here soon, talking about some of the quote mid-tier quarterbacks.
Yep.
And I saw that and I was like, oh, I know he's gonna use that as
there's a lot
going into that.
Look, for that
there's
episode,
for
I'm glad that we've gotten through this game without me slandering Baker, so I have material for the Patreon because that throw and other things from this game.
Yes.
I'll save it. We'll move on to the next one. But that throw specifically, like first down, tons of pressure. There were people open downfield early, but he didn't throw it because he had his head down. And then when he had his head up, the opportunity was over and he just needed to throw it away. Like, why aren't you throwing that away on first down? Game on the line. Just contested, it gets tipped, it gets picked. It's just terrible, just absolutely awful. Like he's so competitive, and sometimes it just so clearly makes him black out. And I think some people love that and they're charmed by that. I don't think it's such a good thing.
It's very interesting. There are, and this will be a perfect transition into the NFL's Dublin game this morning. Theo, I think this was probably 7:30 a.m. for you, but it was 9:30 a.m. here. I have serious issues watching Carson Wentz in need to get it done situations. And I made a TikTok about this. I'm like, dude, the Vikings have one of the worst quarterback rooms in football. If we're looking at Carson Wentz as like not even like I really don't think he's a particularly serviceable backup after this performance. He took 6 sacks through 2 interceptions, which given those got tipped. So I'll cut him some slack on those. But it just felt like when things were really good, when he wasn't under any pressure and when he could just get to his first read and get the ball out immediately, he could be accurate and deliver that on time. But as soon as there was any sort of hitch in what he saw, he like completely folded. Like it would be a deer in the headlights. He would freeze up. And I don't know if that's something that you saw as well, but I felt like every time something went against him, whether it was he had to get to his second read or there was any sort of pressure in his face, he would just like clinch, drop his eyes, and like try and do the old like duck under shit that he used to do instead of like what we saw from Dak Prescott today in the Sunday night game, dude. Like pocket is collapsing and he's like knowing that there's a guy on, he's knowing that Micah Parsons is here trying to rip the ball out the back of his hand. He's like, let me slide up, pump it a little bit, and then get the ball out. Like Carson Wentz has none of that like thought process in these sort of moments, in those similar moments. And that's really, I think, what cost the Vikings here. I get their offensive line is like a complete ghost town right now, and they are partially to blame. But that's another team that they have such great receivers that I think you just have to be able to find a way to get it to them.
Yeah, 100%. Wentz sucks. I don't know why it's been like entertained that the Vikings are like shadow benching JJ for Wentz or something, like
he's
that whole narrative.
Like week 7 or week 8.
Or like he's not really hurt. They just are like throwing him on the bench because he sucks. Like I don't.
Like no, it's
I've seen that.
Wentz is worse.
Wentz is worse. Wentz is not the future. There's just absolutely no reason to play him unless JJ McCarthy like legitimately can't walk, and
right.
So that must be the case.
So the question I would have for you, do you think they should entertain trading for a guy like Russ? Or
no,
Jameis?
Just fucking start JJ, man. Like what if he sucks?
But he's hurt for like another 3 weeks.
Russ sucks too. Russ can't.
I guess.
Why would you give up draft capital for someone who's ass? Like a draft pick could be good. Like they could be a good special teamer. They could be a good punter. They could be a depth piece. They could be Jalen Naylor. You know, like they could be a solid player.
Bay Hot legend.
Russ is garbage. Like Russ, why would you trade a pick for someone you know is bad?
Wentz.
Who cares if he's better than Wentz? Like who cares?
Yeah, I don't know if that matters at all.
It doesn't matter. If you could trade for Dak, then you should go do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're going to get slaughtered over the next 3 weeks. They go Browns, Eagles, Chargers. I don't think they have a prayer against those defenses right now.
One of my big takeaways from this game was Mike Tomlin. He should be taken behind the woodshed. All right. 4th and 1, and he punted 15 yards because it went out of the back of the end zone. He had a 15-yard punt instead of trying to win the game and not letting the Vikings touch the ball. Like, holy cow. Just a terrible decision that was rightfully ripped out the broadcast. That made no sense. Just
it's funny to see that 3/4 of the AFC North all want their head coaches fired. Browns fans want Kevin Stefanski gone. Steelers fans want Mike Tomlin and their defensive coordinator, whose name is escaping me at the moment. And the Ravens want Harbaugh gone as well.
And Bengals fans love Zach Taylor.
And Bengals fans love Zach Taylor. It's crazy. I want to see the Browns, Ravens, and Steelers just swap head coaches for a
It's like a TLC like drama. Like, you guys are having issues. Well, what if you had to swap?
No, but here's what would happen. Browns fans and Steelers fans would realize that, and maybe Steelers fans do have it that bad. Maybe they do have it that. But
that's the thing, is like Tomlin genuinely might be the worst of the four.
Harbaugh's pretty. Harbaugh's decision making hasn't been a whole lot better than Tomlin's. But I think Browns fans would realize they don't have it so bad. Steelers, if the Ravens got Stefanski, I think they'd win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I just think the issue with the Steelers is that, like, you know, making decisions like punting there, it's ridiculous, right? Like, it makes no sense, and it's just super weak or whatever. Not to try to win the game by getting 1 yard and then giving your defense a chance anyway, right? Although I guess it worked out in the end, but like, there's just like, I feel like a ceiling you put on yourself when you have a head coach that's that like regressive when it comes to fourth down decision making. And it's one of the easiest things to see about coaching, those type of decisions. So I understand the frustration there totally. And just like their team building strategy as a whole, I think there's something to be said for the Steelers consistently being pretty decent, right? And being in the playoff fight. I mean, they lead the division right now. No, they're 3-1. There's something to that, but I understand it.
That just made me. They did win the game. I think DK Metcalf is looking pretty nice to begin this season. He's had a bunch of contested catches. He continues to be one of the best home run hitters in the league with an 80-yard touchdown today. He had more like long distance touchdowns than anybody else outside of Jamar Chase last year too. So he's done what they brought him in to do. Like, Darnell Washington is cool. They ran the ball well today.
Yeah, they had a decent day offensively.
Yeah, they had a decent day. TJ Watt went crazy. Obviously, they just detonated on the Vikings front. So it's not all bad news for the Steelers, of course, but like, that decision just kind of goes to show that they're not gonna win any games with some like great decision making in the margins, and that's what they need to do to not be first round exits. Or
they're not going to win a playoff game,
right? Like, you can't. Like, you have to just
separates them from like the Rams.
If your in-game decision making is that bad, like, and you're just not that talented overall, right? Like, the defense has really struggled this year. Aaron Rodgers is not going back to prime Aaron Rodgers. Like, that is clear at this point.
No.
So
he can get the ball out quick, though.
If you're also not going to be like super well coached and make all the right decisions, like, then it's like, okay, what are we even doing here? Like, you're lucky that the Ravens apparently suck or whatever, and Joe Burrow is hurt. But like, beyond that, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, they won. Shout out them for beating the Vikings. I mean, obviously we needed that here in Green Bay Nation. So shout out the Steelers. I do need Jalen Ramsey to put on a pair of gloves, though. He looks dumb as fuck out there. That's the other thing.
He's got the negative aura.
Dude, 100% negative aura. He in the game against the Seahawks, week 2, right? It was he had a chance to recover a fumble, and he couldn't do it. And he was just looking all dumb without the gloves, trying to pick up this bouncing ball. It's like, how about you get the sticky gloves, and maybe you could do that. And then he didn't like immediately make that change. Like, what kind of decision is that? Like, why as a corner would you not want sticky gloves on?
Speaking of,
that is the dumbest shit ever.
Speaking of negative aura, there were 2 plays. I'll say 2 major plays that highlighted negative aura. The first was Baker Mayfield's ridiculous, like, he juked a guy out, spun around, and then just like randomly dropped the football. The other happened in the Rams-Colts game where Adonai Mitchell, great catch, made a couple guys miss, ran into the end zone, drops the ball at the 1 yard line. It bounces out the back of the end zone, and it's Rams football.
That was negative aura, and we'll get into that game, but you're missing an even bigger negative aura play from Ramsey himself, where he faked like he had a hamstring injury on the pick, and then actually hurt his hamstring and pulled up the exact same way as his celebration later in the game. That's negative aura. Plus,
that is negative
he had
aura.
no
I didn't even think
gloves
about
on,
that.
looking like an idiot.
But do you want to talk about Colts Rams?
Yeah, sure. That was something we talked a lot about on Wednesday. We thought, who could win this? Who has a better chance to win this division? The Jaguars or the Colts? We deliberated on who had a better chance to win on Sunday, the Colts or the Jaguars, and they were both really tight games. Good games. Jaguars did get the win.
Almost
Colts,
identical scores, 27-20 and then 26-21.
Yeah, they just found themselves in very similar situations this week. And the Colts, they did turn back into a pumpkin a little bit. Daniel Jones is still Daniel Jones. That was kind of my main takeaway.
Yeah.
And then they start Xavier Howard still.
Yeah, I mean,
other big problem.
I mean, we spent probably half of that time just ripping on Xavier Howard being a starting corner in the Big 12.
Yeah, well,
he's terrible. And when you're going up against a quarterback like Matthew Stafford and a receiver like Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell, and Devontae Adams, like, you can't have that big of a weakness out there at corner. You just can't. So
Puka's a dog, man. I can't say anything. Even on my salty hater shit today, I can't say anything about Puka besides that guy is special.
Yeah. I mean, he's superstar tier as well, but he's been there.
He has.
He's been there. He
was obviously there as a rookie.
Mm-hmm. He's just ridiculous. Like, he blocks. He's a yak threat. He's a route runner. His hands are crazy strong. Like, he's always a little bit dinged up, Matt. And that's maybe the one thing you could kind of say about him. But the thing is, like, he's clearly crazy durable, and he gets dinged up because he's executing the like hardest assignments. You know what I mean?
Puka is like one of those guys that doesn't even really have an archetype because he's just so good at everything. Like, he's just so well balanced and all around. It's like, well, is he a yak guy? It's like, yeah, but he's not like a yak guy.
Right.
Because he's just such a great route runner. And it's like, well, he's not like some like nimble type of route runner guy because he's pretty physical and big and he can block as well. And he can win and contest it. Like, he's just very good all around. I mean, even some of the great receivers, it's like, you know, AJ Brown's a little bit more of a big body guy. Chase, it's like he's a little bit more of a yak guy. Not to say that those guys aren't well-rounded, but Puka, it's just a little bit of everything with him. He's phenomenal, man.
It is interesting. I feel like Puka's route running often gets sort of cast aside as, like, if he has a negative, that would be it, because he is so physical.
Yeah, he's like a schemed Sean McVay merchant.
I think that's based mostly off of like people just not believing the Cooper Cup Triple Crown season still. Like, what else could it be? Then, like, it's just sort of like it's a Stafford thing. But you know what? Like, Stafford's just played with 3 really great wide receivers for a moment. That's the truth. I mean, Calvin Johnson certainly wasn't just a Stafford guy, and you know, Puka is fantastic, man. He's just that, like, sure, you know, Stafford can force feed a guy the ball, but like, you don't get 170 yards on 15 targets without it being you getting open, man. Stafford can't go and walk down the field, pause time, place the ball in your hands. You got to be doing that.
Dude, he might as well some of the time. Like, I swear.
Some of the time,
yeah.
But I mean, Puka just has made so many ridiculous catches too, like heavily contested, ball passes his eye line, he makes the catch behind him, one-handed, whatever he has to do, he brings it in. Like, they didn't show a good replay of it. I'm excited to watch it on the All 22. It was right after the Adonai Mitchell debacle. He caught a dig over the middle, like it was low, he was diving, the safety was bearing down. And it's just like, how did he catch that? Like, again, that's one where a lot of times you want to make a catch in front of you, right? Because you can see it. Yeah. If you let it go behind you, reaching behind you and making the catch is like damn near impossible when you've got so much other shit to worry about on a football field. And that also happened while he was diving, while it was low, while there was a ton of pressure, and he still caught it. And it's just like, it's so casual. It's such a given with him. It's like, just put it in his vicinity. He's elastic. He's got so much dexterity. He weaponizes everything when he runs routes, like his hips, his head, it's just eye contact. Like every little detail about route running is present in his game.
And that he's detailed in every aspect of playing receiver. Like the route running is there, but all, like Theo, you mentioned on that catch, it's like it's all eye discipline, right?
Yeah.
We saw George Pickens in the Cowboys game make a ridiculous catch on the sideline, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, that might be catch of the year." And then he drops like a slant because he brought his eyes up too soon. You just don't see Puka make those mistakes. He will make those big catches, and then he will also just make every other catch that you require of him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had an insane day. I thought Stafford also played great in this game. Like, obviously throwing to Puka is pretty easy, but he also looked off the safety, just vintage, right, on the Devontae touchdown right before halftime. Looked over to the flat, got the quarters safety out of the middle of the field, biting on that, and then replaced him with the ball on the dig to Adams. Just beautiful, beautiful work. And then on the 88-yard touchdown to Tutu Atwell, I think he knew what he had. I think he knew that he wanted that matchup, but of course looked the other direction, looked off that safety, and then went over to Tutu, and then there was absolutely nobody. And then Tutu was open, and then he still had the wherewithal to lead him. Like, you didn't just like, oh, this is an easy one, I'm just going to try to hit it, right? I just want to put it in somewhere where he can get it. He like led him so that the tracking carried Atwell up the field, so he caught it with the momentum to go and score. Like, Stafford was unbelievable. Compare that to like Daniel Jones, who didn't look off anybody, threw a couple meatballs, couldn't get his feet aligned on any kind of deep shot. Like, just pretty poor day from him overall, and he really cost the Colts in this one.
Yeah, I mean, this was the same question that we were asking, was how many consecutive games would it take for you to trust Daniel Jones? And I think your answer was literally it. There is no, like, you will like to some level, you will always have it in the back of your mind. It's like, we've watched this cat for 6 years. I've seen this before. I know what you are. Yeah. Even if you can string together a few good games.
And even in the
Alec Pierce,
he misses Alec
Pierce.
That's true. And he also just like wasn't that good in the first two games. You know, like, he was playing well. He was playing the best football of his career, but like, he was kind of a first read merchant. And he wasn't very accurate down the field in like the Broncos game. He
doesn't matter if you're accurate if Pierce is out there. Doesn't matter if your first read's Pierce, you're fine.
You're fine. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how it was in the Broncos game. But like, he missed the pick to the first one to curl in this Rams game was the exact same as a miss he had to Mitchell in the Broncos game. Like, it was a big. The first one was more of a post in the middle of the field. This was more of a crosser, but both times Mitchell was moving from left to right, and Jones's feet just like drifted more and more in the opposite direction than where Mitchell was running. So when he threw it, he missed Mitchell to the left, and that exact same thing happened twice. One time he wasn't punished, and they ended up winning the Broncos game. And like, oh, look at how he cooked a great defense. Does the exact same thing another time. Doesn't get so lucky. It gets picked, you know, like these issues have been on tape the whole time. Like, I still buy that this Colts offense is going to be better than any offense Daniel Jones has ever led before. But yeah, he's not.
I mean, when you've got Jonathan Taylor, Tyler Warren, Adonai, well, I don't know if I'll say Adonai Mitchell.
Well, no,
he's got too much of a bozo gene in him. And even Michael Pittman dropped a pretty, I wouldn't say it's an easy catch, but I feel like for him, it should have been over the shoulder. He had to rotate his body a little bit, but I felt like, and it kind of grazed off his fingertips, and I'm like, I get it, but to me, that should have been an easy catch for him. And I guess, and I'm willing to bet in the film room they'll be like, dude, you gotta catch that.
Yeah,
and
for
obviously
sure.
once they get Pierce back, but like the quality of the weapons is too good for them not to have a good offense, which is why they ended up picking Jones over Richardson, obviously. But at some point, I can imagine them. I feel like Richardson will probably get to play again this year.
Yeah, we'll see. Maybe. I mean, Jones has done. He did nothing in this game that would say like, "Oh, you have to get benched."
No, there's nothing that would get him benched in this game. But I could see.
You think it's coming?
I think it could come at some point. Maybe that's a lot.
I think they're gonna. I think they've proven they're gonna be a little bit too competitive. Like the secondary is bad, but like Latu is breaking out, and Buckner's still really good. So the pass rush has been pretty money for the most part. And the offense with Pierce back and Jonathan Taylor playing at this MVP level, I think. I don't know. I thought we were going to see Richardson. Like I was like, okay, Daniel Jones, that won't last. This was not a good game from Jones, but I don't still feel that way.
We would have been having the conversation now. Like we wouldn't be like, well, maybe it would have been a conversation that we would be having because Jones would have to be playing so bad. Yeah, I get that. What about Jacksonville though? They got a win today against San Francisco, so they should be. I think they should be number one in the division. I don't know exactly how.
Yeah, they will be.
Tiebreaker will work.
It's not the Titans.
Well, it would either be them or the Colts because they have the same record now.
Yeah, I guess I don't know how that all works, but they're number one in my heart, having won today and the Colts lost today.
That's fair.
I think my main take on Jacksonville, just the defense, right, and how they continue to force turnovers. Like there is just nothing fake at all about the front seven. Oluokun and Devin Lloyd has just been a money linebacker duo, plus Jordan Lewis in the slot to kind of complete that second layer. Those guys have just been balling out, like especially Lloyd. That guy is one of the best zone droppers in the middle of the field that we've got in the league today. It's Fred Warner. And with the way he's began the season, I think, and then it's him. And he's also just an insane blitzer. He's gotten tons of pressure. Just a game wrecker. Like I think he's in the defensive player of the year conversation through the first quarter of the season here, Lloyd. And then on top of that, like Gardeck is punching the ball out. Winger, like everybody is absolutely flying around with that mentality. It's clear after they didn't pick the ball off at all last year. They had 9 turnovers all of last year. Now they're at 13. Like that's all they repped in practice this entire training camp, and it's really showing. Hines Allen whooped Trent Williams today. Eric Armstead had a fantastic day. They were even missing Trayvon Walker, but he's been good these last 2 years as well. Like they're gonna be one of the top defenses, I think, at the end of the year with the way everybody's playing.
Yeah, this isn't one that I caught, but I immediately asked. I was just like, hey, what happened? Like, is it over for the Niners? And Niners fans were like, yeah, dude, like all of our receivers are hurt. Brock Purdy looks like hot ass.
He did.
And that's where I was like, oh yeah. I mean, if it's just Shanahan just like trying whatever he can and no one's delivering, yeah, you've got nothing.
They had no sacks today on Lawrence. That's a problem. They're
too beat up. I mean, bless them. Shanahan's a beast, but like you can only miss so many guys. You can only have so many injuries. And I mean, like they didn't do a good job running the ball today. I know I didn't catch a lot of this one either. But like there's only so much you can get away with.
Yeah, there definitely is. And with no Kittle, like that clearly hurt them today. It's a tough game
though. And it was a one score against a good team. And again, they'll get healthier. They'll get some of these, but yeah, it's a tough one. And again, their schedule gets real easy at a point.
For sure. It was a tough L, but they've definitely got some concerns. Like I think the secondary is a little bit just slower and worse overall than I thought last week. Maybe like the safety play is pretty poor. The corners just as a whole, just aren't very electric when it comes. They're just not very good movers, I feel like. And that's kind of important when it comes to covering people and preventing long runs and just closing space. It's just kind of Fred Warner and friends. Winters is a guy who kind of flies around at the linebacker too. But other than that, it's just not a lot of juice anywhere on the defense, not on the front four, not in the secondary. It really is Warner covering up a lot of ugly warts. I think, man, like with the way Pearsall has been playing, if they get everybody back healthy, I think the offense could be super
got great
potent.
Weapons.
But I mean, Purdy does kind of kneecap them a little bit if he's going to play like he did today. Like he was a stare down merch. Like what pick was it? The first pick was to a target to McCaffrey where he was just not on the money at all. It was like a play action rollout. Nothing was there front side. McCaffrey leaks out backside, like kind of into a crowd. So the margin of error was pretty much zero for Purdy. And it was just a bad throw. And then McCaffrey tipped it up and it got picked. Second throw, I mean, he just stared down the middle the entire time. And it was just a team meeting. The D tackle picked it, and there were like 3 guys there who could have gotten it. And Lloyd was the one who did. He with his injury, he doesn't look nearly as mobile as he did last year. And he just doesn't threaten every blade of grass because he doesn't have a very good arm. And he doesn't really look down the sidelines very much. He's not good at that throw. So then it just ends up him being kind of this short statue staring at the dig. And like, there needs to be a little bit more of a threat than that. And Purdy's making a shit ton of money now. And he can't just be trusting that the Shanahan dig is there after the play action. So yeah, it was kind of a concerning performance.
Shanahan dig is a great trick though.
It is a great trick. It works a lot, but not every time. And you can't just it doesn't work if you stare it down. They will. They are like waiting for that. I'm sure the opposing defensive coordinators let them know that there's a bit of a hot spot on the passing chart.
There is. Another defense that we really need to have a conversation on is the Baltimore Ravens. Kansas City put up 37 on those fools, given they had a lot of guys go down with injury today, and Lamar Jackson left with like a hamstring thing late in the game. But the Ravens are sitting here at 1-3, and their defense looks absolutely atrocious.
They just don't create a lot of havoc. I mean, that's the number one issue, I think. And I feel like we've talked about this a little bit before, but like, yeah, this is even more concerning. They're just not a team that at the moment is forcing the issue a lot against Kansas City, I thought, in this game. And you saw with like Worthy back, things are really starting to open up again for KC. I mean, Mahomes is still Mahomes, right? And I mean, my biggest takeaway was when this team gets Rashee Rice back, they're going to be fire. They're going to be an incredibly good passing offense, and they're going to be really tough to beat. But it's tough to, I guess, entirely judge them because, you know, they're missing Matabike still, and, you know, they've got these guys who are banged up and whatever. But I'm just worried if, in general, they're kind of a very lay back and try not to make a mistake defense like we talked about before. That's killed them in previous years in the playoffs, and I think you have to do more to get Mahomes off of his spot and off of his game if you want to be successful against him, because when you let them come to you, Mahomes is always going to be able to get the positive play. He just takes negative so rarely. It's so tough to get these guys off of their game, even if the run game for them, which I don't even know what they average in the rush game, it must have been 3.7 yards per carry, but that was like a Worthy sweep. I guess like Kareem Hunt like had 34 yards on 13 carries. Like this, it was bad.
Yeah.
The run game in general, but it doesn't make a difference because Mahomes is just so consistently successful. He doesn't take a lot of sacks. He's so good at extending plays. And their short yardage game is always really good. The Chiefs' play calling and the way they mix it up, I think, is still very good. So when you combine all of that stuff, like, I don't know. I think the Chiefs are a really good offense, and I think Baltimore, I honestly left a little bit more concerned about the offense than the defense, really. The defense I can make excuses for The offense, you can't. And
go ahead.
Yeah, the offense you can't make excuses for. It's a bad game. They have issues. Part of it is that they don't get the ball out quickly. And the game plan with them is that Lamar's going to hold the ball forever, but that's good because you want the ball in Lamar's hands. And yeah, like he's going to sit back there, but his pocket maneuverability, it's so great, which it is. And his ability to like see downfield, but then also be like, maybe the best rushing threat in the NFL at his position is just such a tough combo to deal with. But the thing is, when the Chiefs heat Lamar up, when he's getting pressure, it would be nice if there would be more times where they would throw the ball immediately, right? Where they could just say like, cool, I'm going to take this matchup and we're just going to get it out of my hands and you're not going to be able to do that. Well, instead, it's like Lamar still hangs on to that thing. And I'm not blaming him or the play calling. Like, it's tough to see on the broadcast exactly like, when do you have a great guy to throw hot to and when do you not, and what should you have done or whatever. But I just thought there were too many times where the Chiefs had a creative blitz that either got home or was sending like 5 or 6 or whatever, and you're asking Lamar to like go and basically work that out on his end. Granted that I don't think the Ravens offensive line is that great either.
Right.
And it's like, that's just a tough way to live, to tell him like, you basically have to like beat all these guys with your legs and then go make a play, rather than see that you're getting this blitz and like beating it through the air quickly. It's just like, I don't know if you can live like that all the time for an entire game, and it's super frustrating to watch.
It is very interesting. You look at guys like Mahomes, Allen, even Dak Prescott, Herbert, all these guys, we say don't blitz because they will just beat you, right? And you throw Lamar in that category also, but yeah, Matt, you're right. The Ravens do it in such a different way from everyone else, where it's just, we are just going to trust Lamar to beat you on his own. And that does feel very inefficient in the long run, and it did hurt them today. The offensive line does stink. Like, outside,
they let up 30 pressures against the Lions. I don't know what the number was today, but it wasn't great. Lamar took 3 sacks, granted not for like a ton of yards or whatever.
But there was a fumble where, he basically he ran into the back of Linderbaum because I don't remember who it was that was next to him that like got caught up, and so like no one could get downfield. It was just like a weird mosh of people. But yeah, it's such a weird system for them to be running, when you're right, they could just get the ball out quicker. They could just run some more hot stuff, and that would keep the defense more honest. I guess there are concerns on both sides of the ball. I guess my concern on defense is still like, they have a lot of their stars out there still, even if it's not, if they don't have Travis Jones, they don't have Matabike. Like, the main issue is the defensive line is so vacant right now, and so they can't get any pressure. They really can't stop the run as well as they have been. But like, Theo, you've mentioned this, Roquan not playing well at all. And this is like really bad for my Kyle Hamilton most valuable defensive player agenda, because
he's not at all.
He can't do it all. Like, he's the only, I feel like
he's not more valuable.
He also
than Myles
played
Garrett.
a pretty rough game against.
We're going to ignore that, but
I thought he was worse than Roquan against Detroit. My take specifically on Roquan is that it was kind of a not his fault game for Roquan.
Yeah. I didn't think he played great, but
I spent all my time watching the Colts and the Jaguars.
Yeah, I was the other way around. I watched this and Chargers.
I did see that Leo Chanel made a one-handed interception 30 yards down the field, and then maybe it's sick. Maybe it's just not your day if Leo Chanel is.
There's some
step for step, turned his head, got the. I was like, what the?
Leo Chanel is an awesome player. I love Leo Chanel, but making interceptions 30 yards down the field, not what I think of when I think.
I think Lamar and the Ravens will be fine on some level. Obviously, they're not a 1-3 team really, and they'll recover. And Lamar is still a great MVP level player and whatever. But I do wish they could get the ball out a little bit quicker. It feels like. Mm-hmm. It feels like they're always. It just feels like they're holding the ball too long. I guess I don't know.
That's kind of how they've always operated.
Kyle Hamilton is not more valuable than Myles Garrett at all.
No, it's not even. No,
it's not even. close.
He's not more valuable than Chris Jones, I think. Chris Jones has played out of his mind since week 1.
Yeah,
It's
you could just
be more valuable than
you could
a pass
just disrupt
rusher.
things closer. It's easier to just be impactful closer to the line of scrimmage.
Look, I get it. Like, having a
Kyle
guy who can come downhill and make plays and is rangy or whatever, like, it's cool. Especially, I watched the Panthers today. The exact opposite. They have, 7 guys who are beyond the defensive line, and none of them are like that. It's really amazing. How trash that team is, how little those guys. And then, like, they literally, like, me and my friends, every time any of our team loses, they don't care. Right? That's the excuse. Like, that team really does not care. There's guys that on that field who are collecting a paycheck. It's sad. So
you guys are proud of me. I turned off the Browns game before halftime.
That is, I did too, but it had nothing to do with like honor with the Panthers. They're just terrible, man.
Yeah, I was just like, I just can't do this to myself. This is too much pain.
You can watch him next week when Gabriel's out there.
Yeah, that'll be good. I want to talk Chargers Giants. First off,
Jackson Dart.
Horrible game in terms of injuries here because Alt and Neighbors. Neighbors, of course, being my first round pick in the 32-team fantasy league. So I'm getting relegated. That's cool. But how did you think Jackson Dart looked?
I don't think he played bad, but I also don't really think he played at all.
My only thing that I really noted, depending on like what we discussed, I thought he was fine. I thought like he got the ball out well, and like, there were times where it's like he needed to make a quick decision, throwing into like just like a short underneath zone, but he'd do it, right? And he ran well. He is a good runner. He is.
Yeah.
He is.
He's an aggressive.
He's not that good though. He's a good runner, but he's not that good.
He's not good. But he the thing that makes him better than Russell Wilson right now is the fact that he is aggressive when he runs. Russell Wilson was too passive.
He's more athletic than Russell Wilson.
He's also more athletic than Russell Wilson at this point. But he's willing to, like, the willingness to run through gaps and lower your shoulder. And like,
yeah, he's gonna run a lot. I'm telling you,
he's gonna run a lot, and he's gonna be a man about it. All right, like that is a real thing. He's also aggressive throwing over the middle, and that's something that Russell Wilson just didn't do at all.
Dart isn't even the main storyline. It's literally the defense. Like, Brian Burns is to me the main storyline here. Like, Brian Burns was completely unblockable. Like, every single stunt with him just shredded. He forced Herbert into some bad decisions, picks. It was, a really rough game from the Chargers as a collective whole. I think, Dart is the storyline because he made his first start and he won, and that's good. Like, again, he played fine. The game plan worked. It's good that you can get a win like that. But I also think, like, okay, him and Cam Scatterbo, they haven't really flashed too much to me yet, I guess.
Yeah.
But the defense, Burns, Carter, Dexter Lawrence, like, this is what we imagined from the Giants going into the year with those guys. Like, they were just awesome, all of them. And that's probably because Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater were out. And there's probably not really, no one outside of Herbert and Johnston were playing particularly well in this game for the Chargers. And Hampton. Why am I forgetting Hampton?
Hampton had a great game.
Hampton had a great game. The line didn't play great. How about that? No. The line did not.
The line is a big concern right now.
I think the Chargers are like ultimately screwed.
Yes.
They don't have Slater and Alt. Like, I don't know if you can survive that. Not with what the Chargers' goals really are, which is honestly to compete in the AFC.
Yeah,
that's
and especially
truly
in
the goal.
Way they live on offense, which is, Herbert dropped back. He had 41 pass attempts today. Like,
they'll have better games than this. Yeah, they will. Just off the virtue they won't be playing a pass rush like this. But ultimately, everything will be about the fact that their offensive line has gargantuan issues because 2 of the best 3-4 players on the team are just gone.
And they were able to win without Neighbors because Neighbors was not going to be a part of this game plan anyway. That was kind of another thing where it's like, man, they won without Neighbors. Well, it's like, were they really going to get neighbors that involved ever, but eventually they'll
need to, and they won't be able to, and that's really when it's going to hurt them.
That's really what it's going to hurt them.
They need to burn the MetLife turf, man.
They do. They just need to make it grass. Just make it grass.
Make it grass.
But I don't know. It's a good win for the Giants, and Dart doesn't need to look like anything crazy off the bat. I agree. Like going over the middle, like he did go through his progressions and get to that like middle hole a couple of times. Was it like necessarily on the move, like in stride, 15 yards downfield, layered type beautiful? No, but it did get there, and that was a good first step. And the run game, like
Russ never did that.
Russ never did that. And the run game stuff, like, is it the most impressive thing in the world to me? Absolutely not. But like, sure, it can get you a win, I guess. And yeah, the wide receivers will absolutely need to be more involved in the future. I mean, Daniel Jones had a really good debut too. I remember everybody being hyped about that, and
I think you're really overestimating how many people are like, Dart is God after this game. Like, you
don't know. He's a rookie. Look, he's a rookie quarterback who won a game thanks to the defense. You're
scarred from the JJ McCarthy stuff.
The JJ McCarthy, the Zach Wilson, the Tua, the Bo, every single fucking quarterback.
Like a great debut? I honestly don't remember.
Who?
Zach Wilson.
Did Zach Wilson have a good debut? I mean, I remember there was a point where he was like winning games because the Jets defense was top 5.
Baker Mayfield's debut was 17 for 23, 200 yards, no touchdowns.
Here's some incredibly boring information about the Browns.
Hey, I'm just mentioning debuts that people got really excited about. Myself.
Let's talk about Jordan Love's debut. No. I don't know. This is just these rookies who get carried by their defense, things always get out of hand.
Yeah.
The dialogue always gets out of hand. So I don't know what they're saying about Dart. I mean, he probably had 90 passing yards today.
He had 111.
Shout out.
That's fine. He took 5 sacks, though. I mean, like, look, he's just going to look to run instantly all the time.
Right.
So he did have 90 passing yards because he had 5 sacks.
Right.
So
if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, I do. So then the last game would leave us Thursday night, Seattle Seahawks, Arizona Cardinals. We've talked about every NFC West team. Let's finish it off with the Birds. Seahawks have the win. How concerned are you for this Cardinals offense right now?
Dude, their passing offense. It's not good.
Someone messaged me in one of my dynasty leagues, and they were, because I have Lamar. They were like, dude, what would it take for me to get Lamar from you? I'm like, I mean, pretty much nothing unless you have another really good quarterback. And I look at his quarterbacks, and it's Kyler Murray and Anthony Richardson, and I'm like, dude, yeah, you've got there's no way.
So, I traded Lamar away for Sam Darnold and Quentin Johnston this offseason. I'm a genius, by the way.
I don't. Lamar's been QB1. He was QB1 last year. He was QB5 the year before. He's on pace to be QB1 this year. I don't know if.
Yeah, but Quentin Johnston's wide receiver one, it seems. He's ridiculous.
I guess that's true.
No, I cooked. Plus, Lamar just quit on the team. So.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. I mean, okay, the Marvin Harrison Jr. redemption arc through this game was legitimately cool.
Yeah.
I don't even mean that as I mean that because it's a Buckeye, but
yes.
I don't even mean that off of some ironic, look what we're doing for this guy who was supposed to be generational. You know, he had a couple of really bad plays. Him and Kyler just weren't on the same page. And then he had a really brutal drop where it's that's not even the same page thing. That just sucks. I mean, he's had it last week too. He had a terrible drop, a horrible drop. But to the catches that he made where he did a good job, not adjusting to the ball until the last second. I thought he had one where he really went up and used his hands, and he likes to use his body more than you'd think. But when he times it right, it still works just fine anyway. Right. Mm-hmm. So it was cool to see. Yeah, it's not unheard of for that to be a guy's go-to, although it looks super weird. It does. It looks strange as hell. But like the Cardinals drop back passing game still sucks though. Like this was bad today. And the whole idea was that like the defense would take a step and maybe the passing game had the weapons and the tools to be like pretty decent. And really in structure, it's just like not that good. It's not a lot right now. Kyler is so short that it limits him, and he's taking 1 million sacks right now. And like everybody's not even on the same page all the time. And it's just really, really frustrating.
I'm concerned about it. I do think that the ceiling here is still a little bit high just because of what we saw from Marv in the second half. It's like there's still, I think, a good player in there, and I think that catch technique and drops can be improved. Like we see it with Johnston right now. We saw it with Devontae Adams over the years. Like I feel like you're right that his default is to kind of basket catch it and to go underhand and
just catch it like not even with his body, but his like elbows.
Yeah, right. And I feel like you really saw that on the drop last week against the 49ers where he was just wide, naked, open. Like you can literally see him go out to attack it with his hands. And then halfway through that process, he changed his mind and was like, I'm going to go underhand. And like, he also started to look downfield for Yak at the same time that he was kind of switching up his technique. So it's like, can he just, can some things click for him where he's just like, I just can't be doing that. Like, I just got to be going overhand and catching these things at the first available window, and things will get a lot better for me if I start to do that. Like, I think that is a realization that he can maybe come to, and his hands can get a little bit better. And it starts with that second half, and hopefully it can continue throughout the year. And if that happens, I don't think they're like the worst pass. Like I think Kyler is. I don't think he's playing like terrible or anything.
He's not playing terrible. I just think like limitations with him. And then like if Marv is bad, the receivers are bad.
Yes,
they have bad receivers. That's their issue. Is that everything hinges on Marv being like a game changer and that making up for what is like a pretty thin receiver. Like there's very few people who you consistently rely on necessarily throughout there. So it's something that's got to be better for the Cardinals. And otherwise, if it doesn't, they're just going to be like the same old sort of like 8-win, 9-win, whatever. You know,
I mean, half their passing targets are split between Marv and Trey McBride right now. So
which is fine because if those guys are who they could be, and Trey McBride is, right? It's okay if it flows through them way more than everybody else. That's how it should go. But when Marv and Kyler are just not on the same page, there's just not a lot to like down the field. And I also think Kyler could probably do a better job looking to scramble to create throws. Like I feel like he kind of tucks his head and is kind of running towards the sideline instead of kind of hanging back and creating some magic like a Lamar or an Allen, even though he's got all the athleticism.
He's got to be more magical.
He's got to be more magical instead of just kind of quickly scanning the field and then going to the dump off or like taking off towards the sideline. I feel like there's been a lot of that.
As far as the Seahawks go, not to change the subject, unless you have something else to say about the Cardinals. Okay, first off, I really don't understand the Kenneth Walker Charbonnet debate. I didn't understand that before the season. And like, look, Charbonnet's not a bad back, and Walker has his moments, but like Walker's definitely the more talented of the two when you watch them, though. Second off, JSN I'm ready to call it. He's superstar tier. Whatever that is, it might not even put you top 10 because of how good the top end is for receivers, but like that guy is just completely incredible. His ball skills, his body control, and his route running are all super, super elite. And this game was awesome just watching two like Buckeyes at the end go back, and it was just making like all the crucial plays. It's too bad he got hurt his last year, man. So for how like it really did not look good year one for him. It looked bad for JSN. That draft class did not have a great start. I mean, Addison was pretty good right away, but Flowers was maybe I'm wrong. Flowers was decent, but I mean, Quentin Johnston was like a disaster.
Yes,
year one, and Jason was pretty bad too.
Flowers, I feel like, felt like a wide receiver 2 year one. Addison still is a wide receiver too. So it's like if JSN and Johnston didn't turn it around, then you like don't get a true wide receiver one out.
Johnston's really good. If his hands keep improving, he's really good.
He ran Robbie rotten ass.
I saw that.
It worked.
I saw that.
Yeah.
He is physically, teams draft for athleticism and size for a reason. Yep, it matters.
He's fast.
It's okay. We'll teach you to catch. You just got to be big and fast, please.
I agree.
We can't teach that.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah, no, I mean, it worked. Trust the process, I guess.
Every conceivable draft strategy about that, like, because sometimes people are like, just draft the good players, like the guys who are good in college, and sometimes you're like, of course. But then some guy you're high on who was good in college will be dog shit, and you'll be like, it really is more complicated than that. And then some team will draft a guy who's like just athletic and sucks, and then they'll suck, and everyone will be like, good player isn't good. More news at 5. And then you'll be like, right, you can't just draft for athleticism. That's so stupid. And then some guy who's just athletic will end up being like totally awesome, and he'll become good in the NFL. It's like, okay, I see it now. But the other thing is that Darnold, I think, has looked really solid for them. Like there's some limitation, I think, in terms of like, maybe he takes a sack or two more than he should, or maybe he's like more aggressive or can still make boneheaded decisions at times. But overall, like, there's just not that many guys who can like see the field and have a big arm and make difficult throws, and Darnold's one of them. And for the contract that he's on, like, there's just way worse things going on at the quarterback position. On like, I don't know half the teams is fair, but like damn near half the teams. I don't feel that bad about the Darnold contract right now.
Is it hindsight to say that the Vikings should have kept Darnold? Is that a hindsight 2020 thing?
Let's see more about McCarthy before we have to start takes on that. But,
right now,
McCarthy, I don't think looked.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be real with you. McCarthy hasn't looked.
Last year they won 14 games.
I've seen people say. I've seen people say, well, they could have gotten like a pretty good package had they traded McCarthy. I don't know if they could have. Like, what could they have gotten? More, they wouldn't have gotten a first round pick back. I don't think.
I don't blame them for trying with McCarthy. I mean, like, we were a fan of them moving on from Darnold because you drafted a guy 10th overall. You have to give it a shot. But
we know how the season ended with Darnold. The goal is to win this.
Yeah, like,
I just don't know if Darnold, like, even watching this game, like, I don't know if his placement and his feel for pressure is consistent enough. I mean, they were in 12 personnel, really run heavy game scripts, and then play action off of it, right? He's good at that kind of stuff, but
he has some good throws though. He can do. There's guys who are like all play action and all like easy button and all like leaning on the run game to open up things for the pass game. Darnold can mix in some of the stuff that's not truly he can, and he's got a live arm and whatever.
And he can like actually move away from his first read.
Yeah, he's solid. He's very solid, and you're right that JSN is elite. The body control, the route running, and he really sees the game like a quarterback too. Like him and Darnold have such a good chemistry. I think it's just easy to have chemistry with a guy like JSN, just within the zone coverages, working back to the quarterback. Not giving anything away at any point during his routes. Like it was weird watching Ricky Pearsall against Max Melton last week compared to JSN. Both beat Melton pretty bad, but it was just very different approaches and like how you should run routes. Because with Pearsall, it's like head fakes left and right, like all of these really severe fakes and feigns and salesmanship. And with JSN, it's just sudden. Like there is no fake. Like there's or sometimes he'll throw one in, but for the most part it's just like I'm charging and then it's a cut. There's no rocker step, there's no eye or head fake to the outside. It's just like
I think that's the most important.
It's sudden, it's subtle, it's the body language. There's nothing to really pick up on. It just happens.
Everything's vertical until it's not. I'm just gonna close the gap between, like, if you follow what wide receiver teacher on TikTok at all, like that is his whole thing. Is just like the best route runners aren't even sometimes the guys that you consider these like super shifty Jerry Jeudy guys. Sometimes it's just like it's Julio because he's so big and fast, he can just close space better than anyone else. And so you have to respect his ability to get vertical better than anyone else. Yeah. And then he can just break.
And JSN isn't even that fast, I think. He just sells vertical so well with his body language and just with his effort off the ball and his just really.
He's like, yeah, I mean, if you sell that like, oh, I'm running a fade route I'm getting the ball, I'm gonna go score a 50-yard touchdown on this play, and then you just break in. Like that's really hard to defend when every route looks the same off the ball. It's insanely difficult.
Yeah. And it was just such a sick end to the game for him, where it really felt like he just went out and got that thing for him. They needed big plays, chunks quickly. Oh, the kickoff stuff. How do you guys feel about that?
Kickoff stuff. Well, I've been loving the kickoff this year. I
love it.
I think
it's been so interesting. All the different strategies, like tonight, Aubrey,
yes, dude, he was
figuring out a way to skip it in the landing zone into the end zone so they get it at the 20. There's been, the special teams this year has been awesome. Like
they're just kicking it straight to Turpin and letting him go to town.
Fuck their special teams, bro. Bisaccia.
That's so funny.
Everyone's doing cool shit on special teams, but the Packers. The Packers are getting their shit rocked, returning punts, field goals getting blocked. Nothing, no cool knuckleballs. I've noticed. I guess I should maybe study a little bit more what their strategies are. But like literally, it doesn't feel like we've done much interesting. But I love the kickoff stuff, and I feel like anybody complaining about the ending of that Cardinals game, like I just can't say skill issue loud enough. Like,
yeah,
if you kick it out of bounds, it goes to the 40. It's always been that way. Like, it's not that hard to like.
And it's like the landing zone is pretty damn big, bro.
Yes,
it's 20 yards.
Yeah,
but like, and that's what makes it interesting. Is like, okay, but there's some pressure to kick it successfully and make it tough to field and all of that to affect the field position. I guess here was my thought, right? The argument against the new kickoff is basically like, I don't want special teams to be more important. The NFL set out to make special teams more important, particularly like with the kickoff right here, to make it not just like a yawn, kick it out of the back of the end zone and let's get to the offense and defense play. And a lot of people, they just don't want that. They want the offense and defense to be what decides things. But I think the special teams has always had like a disproportionate effect on the game where it's like, offense and defense does their thing. And then it's like, okay, but now the point scoring comes down to the kicker, right? Like how many games come down to the kicker anyway? So many of them, right? Like a ton of them. A ton of games come down to if the kicker screws up or whatever. So when you make the kickoffs
and lose.
Yeah. So when you make the kickoff more important, you're not really like all of a sudden like giving the special teams all of the weight and power that they didn't have before. The difference really isn't that big, but you are saving a play that happens like 8-9 times a game, like a really common play that goes from just kind of like it can matter, but it basically never does, to one that always matters. It's always interesting. It's always important. And it's not the end of the world if you start the drive on the 25 versus the 35, but that field position war is important. So I really like that change, and I don't think it's like...
Yeah.
It's been awesome. I think it's been completely fantastic because, there was a point when the kickoff didn't matter. Like, there'd be a commercial, they'd kick the ball off, and it'd be another commercial, and it's just nothing. It would just be a touchback. Like, that's not the case at all this year, and it rules, and you need to keep kickoffs around, even though they don't impact fantasy, even though that they're not on red zone, because the players at the bottom of the roster need like something to do. That's why you got to keep special teams around, just because like what else is it's a 53-man roster. Like what are those boys going to practice if not special teams? What's keeping them in shape? They'll all get fat. All the backups will be terrible if it wasn't for special teams because they'd never see any action in the game.
Yeah.
So the kickoff always needed to be there.
Linebackers and stuff on your roster. You can't just like cut down on roster sizes. But yeah, they. They just wouldn't see the field that much otherwise. No,
if there's no special teams, like half the roster would just be on their phones in practice.
I'm just thinking about
league-wide screen time would be brutal if the
coaches would be losing their mind if all the fucking bottom of the roster rookies had nothing to do.
You know, what are you gonna do with all those special team coaches? The number of jobs, the number of American jobs that would be lost.
I know what the Packers should do to our special teams coach.
What would be that?
Does it start with a G and end with an guillotine?
Guillotine. Yeah, it does.
Oh yeah, man. Well, before we get out of here, I do need to shout out someone on Twitter. I tweeted out that the Packers left too much time for the quarterback, Dak Prescott, when they scored the second to last touchdown before overtime. And someone said, Blaiden, I'm sending you $5 if you're right. I was right, and he sent me $5 on Venmo. So shout out Rob CC73 on Twitter for actually following through on that bit. Because
I actually have to shout out the Cincinnati Reds for making the playoffs today.
Oh, hell yeah.
Glorious fashion. They were way out of that thing, and they closed out like 5-1, 6-1. Whereas the Mets like totally collapsed. Their payroll's like $340 million to the Reds, like 110. So it's like a really heartwarming Moneyball type thing, and I'm sure they're going to go crush the Dodgers here and move on.
That rocks. That rocks.
It does.
Are you going to go? Are you going to go to a playoff game?
If we get a home one, you don't get any home for the wild card.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. It's only 3 games.
I just assumed because it was a series, you would get at least one home game, but no. Okay, that's tough. But
it's tough.
It's tough. Is there anything else you guys want to hit on before we get out of here? Should we send the good fellas home?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, then thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Stay Hot. We're one quarter, I guess a little less than one quarter of the way through the NFL season. It's already going by way too fast, but we'll be back with some more stuff on the Patreon, of course, and then we'll have our Thursday episode coming out here as well. But until then, as always, from your favorite fellas here at Stay Hot, we'll catch you on the flippity flop.